Let's close the eyes and find a nice, comfortable sitting posture. We talked about a few different classical postures that are mentioned as meditative postures. So you can see which feels the most comfortable. Let's become aware of the spine. Try to keep the spine long. So to feel that lengthening of the spine, pull the neck up, tailbone down, head, neck, trunk in alignment. Just making sure there's no strain felt. If you need to, move around, wiggle around, just loosen up, very relaxed. Feel the buttocks resting very comfortably on the floor. Just become aware of all the points of contact between the body and the floor. Let the hands rest nicely on your knees or your thighs, your lap. Lift the shoulders up toward the ears, roll them back and let them hang loose now. Very comfortable, relaxed arms and shoulders. A few gentle neck movements. Just use them very gently. Feel the neck muscles, loosen them up. Up and down movement, side to side. Small circles, large circles. Keep the movement gentle. And finally, bring the head back to the center. Position the chin just slightly below the horizontal level. Just move the head around. Make sure your neck is very comfortable. Chin a little bit lower than the horizontal level. Neck and the spine are in alignment, very relaxed. Soften the facial muscles. Relax the jaws. And begin to watch your breath now as you breathe in and out. Observe the flow at the tip of the nose, just monitoring the flow there. Also becoming aware of that subtle sensation of cooling. When you inhale in the nostrils, when you exhale, gentle warmth of the air. Feel the flow. How the breath feels in the nostrils. Cooling sensation when you inhale, warmth when you exhale. Breath awareness helps us stay in the present moment, so you can get into the moment of now, as they say. Because when you're totally living in the past or projecting your thoughts to the future, there can be no peace in the past. always some kind of a feeling, emotion involved. In the future, there's always some kind of anxiety or some expectations involved, no peace of mind. Recite Om 3 times. Take a deep inhalation. Om. Yes, softly open the eyes. Namaste and welcome. Welcome to day number 4. Journey into self-exploration. Today, before we move on, what I'd like to do is to kind of share with you the recommended technique of this chanting of Om. When we recite Om, there's a kind of recommended technique. So as you notice, Om is a composite of 2 sounds, O and the final humming sound, right? And in general, in terms of the duration, there's no strict guideline mentioned anywhere, but they say usually the O sound should be longer in duration compared to the final humming sound. Some of you might have even seen the letter Om. It's not written that way, but if you read it, see it written in the Sanskrit alphabet, they'll do O, and then there's a letter digit 3 in the middle, and then the letter M. Some of you might have seen that.
Yeah,
Not here, right?
it's not here.
Yeah.
They have 2 hyphens.
No, there is. Anyway, what that means is that the O sound should be lengthened in duration. The digit 3 between O and M is to lengthen that sound. So roughly, I'm just giving you a simple example. If let's say your total duration of the Om chant is, let's say, 15 seconds, so very approximately 8 to 10 seconds for the O sound and the remaining for the M sound. That's how you want to divide the time duration. In terms of the chanting, what's recommended is that when you start the O sound, feel the energy, the vibration of the O sound emanating from the spine. Where? In the navel center. So look through the navel and the spine. So may, kind of feel the energy, the O vibrating upwards along the spine. All right. When you reach the back of the head, the neck area, the top of the spine, basically, that's when you transition to the humming sound and feel that vibration going up, all the way up, climbing up basically, and finally culminating in this center. It's called the crown center, or in terms of the chakra terminology, it's called the Sahasrara chakra. Okay? This is the spot. Feel that vibration finally filling that whole area with that final humming sound. Now, when we recite the Om sound multiple times, 3 times in the beginning, we do that. There's a small gap between two successive sounds. Just mentally visualize that during that gap, you're feeling the vibration, filling every cell of the body. It's pure mental visualization, right? So you start with the O vibration, O, all the way moving up the spine from the navel area, go to the top of the spine, then convert that to the humming sound. So, O. Final vibration goes in the crown of the head, top head. And when you finish the sound, wait for the next sound, next Om chant. During that period, feel the vibration filling every cell of the body. Let's do it 3 more times now. So keep the spine upright, head in the center. Inhale. Om. Softly open the eyes. That's just the recommended technique of how we want to chant the Om sound.
So, but yeah, how long should be the transition between O and Ma? Like, is it like
It's continuous.
this is continuous?
There is no gap.
Like O, Ma, right? Like,
Yeah.
in between,
Say it again.
like O.
Yeah,
like
it's fine.
like between like you like it sounds like you, right? And then
Well, yeah.
that,
Whatever feels comfortable. Yeah. Okay, let's do our eye exercise. Again, circular rotation of the eyes. Keep the head in the center, spine up, look up. Moving the eyes in a full circle, clockwise direction first. Again, eyes maintain the movement in a very smooth and continuous manner. No head movement, just the eyes. And as you make that circular movement, try to stretch the circle larger, exercising the eye muscles. Next time you bring the eyes back to the top, center them and close, relax for a brief moment. Open the eyes, look up, counterclockwise, full circle in the other direction now. So as you bring the eyes back to the top, center them, close, and let's rub the palms briskly. Cover the eyes very softly. The palms, relaxing the eyes and the eye muscles. Rub the eyelids and the eyebrows. Little massage around the eyes, forehead, sides, cheeks. Just loosening up the facial muscles, neck and the throat. And release now. Just relax and softly open the eyes. So, in terms of the understanding of the concepts from the Yoga Sutras, we talked about the definition of yoga, which is Chitta Vritti Nirodha in Sanskrit. Vritti is what is happening in the mind. That's what we talked about. Vritti is all the stuff that goes on in the mind. So what Patanjali has done is he says, okay, how does that stuff happen? And he has put 5 broad categories around this word vritti. He says the vrittis can be thought of as being caused by one of these 5 reasons. Okay. And these 5 vrittis, they are, let me share the screen so at least people online can watch the, look at the words and all that. Show you what they are. Okay. All right. So, like I said, the previous sutra was that when you are able to calm the mind, then you can rest in your own true nature. You become aware of your true nature. That's the number 3. If you don't do that, then you are controlled by the ego, basically. Your vrittis control the mind. Okay? So you are in trouble at that point. So then he says, talks about the vrittis. There are 5 of them, he says. These mental modifications are 5-fold, and they are painful or not so painful. That's the definition he has, the explanation he has given. Okay. Painful because they are caused by some negative emotions in the mind, and not painful when they are not caused by negative emotions in the mind. Okay. It all depends on how these vrittis are created. All right. So this is the list of the 5 vrittis now. All right. Let me just read these. They are called pramana, viparyaya, vikalpa, nidra, and smriti. See, I listed them here. Okay. So these are the 5 vrittis. Pramana, which is right knowledge. Viparyaya is wrong or confused knowledge. Vikalpa is fanciful or imaginary knowledge. Nidra is deep sleep. And smriti is memories. Okay. So these are the 5 kinds of vrittis that you can create in the mind. So I'm not going to spend too much time, but very quickly, the right knowledge can be attained through, let's say, 5 senses, right? So actually there are 3 categories of right knowledge also. He divided pramana into 3 categories. They call them pratyaksha, anumana, and agamaha. I'm again just going to give you these words and very briefly explain how you get the right knowledge. Pratyaksha is direct perception through the 5 senses. So if I'm looking at something, I know it is okay. It is good knowledge. Right now, the light is good enough, and I'm able to see this gentleman here. And when I see him, I recognize because there is an image in my mind already pre-established in my mind. And when I match that image with my mind, I read the label there. Okay, the label comes up. And that label says that this image represents a person by the name Alpesh. So all these things happen in the mind, but this is white knowledge. Okay, because I'm seeing it directly. There's no confusion. All right. But then there are moments when we when we have to do some guesswork, basically, inference. Okay. So again, let's say that Alpesh is talking to somebody, but he's in a place where I cannot see him directly, right? So I hear the sound. Again, I go into my own memory bank. I compare that sound with something that is already there in this sound. Again, the label says Alpesh. I don't see him. I'm only hearing his voice. But because I have a previous knowledge of that sound and the label says Alpesh, so I know it is Alpesh talking. He's behind a wall or a door or something, I cannot see him. That's called Anumana. Okay, Anumana is inference. Okay. But then there are situations when you don't have access to either one of these two. Then what do? Then you have to trust somebody, either a book or a text or some other person, right? And that is called agama. That's the Sanskrit word for agama. Agama usually are represented by these ancient texts called like the Vedas or Upanishads, or some trustworthy person. That's also an agama. Okay, trustworthy person. All right, so those are the three different ways you can learn the right knowledge. And wrong knowledge is confused knowledge when, if there is not enough light in the room and somebody walks in, I won't know who he is. It's not enough light. It's very dim light, some vague guesses. I might think it is Alpesh, but when the light turns on, oh, somebody else. That's called wrong knowledge. And Vikalpa is fancy imagination. This is just based on some words that you hear, which have no real existence. Words like, even all abstract nouns like love, hatred, all these things have no real meaning. But you associate some thoughts with them. You hear the word love, you have your own ideas what love means. You hear the word God, you have your own ideas what God is. You hear the word time, again, same thing. You hear something and you just make a guess. That's called imaginary knowledge. Nidra is deep sleep. Again, when you're in a state of deep sleep, when you wake up, you realize, whether you slept well or not. So that impression is still created in your mind, even though you're in a deep state of sleep. Nothing else is going on. Memories, we all know that. Memories always cause a lot of, that's the biggest source of our problems, because we bring stuff out from the memories and they come up in our active state of the mind, and we are very good at becoming miserable just by thinking of the past. All right, so that's how Patanjali has categorized these 5 kinds of vrittis, he calls them vrittis. How stuff, how thoughts, how feelings, how emotions, how all that's going on in the mind happens, basically, in 5 different ways. Okay? Any questions, thoughts? Anybody? Everyone okay with that? All right, let's get ready for some stretching. Up on your hands and knees. Hands under the shoulders, knees under the hips. Marjarasana. As you inhale, head up, tailbone up, dip the navel down, look up. As you exhale, round the spine, Lift the navel up, so creating a little hump in the spine, rounding. Keep going, 2 or 3 more breaths like this. Inhale, little dip in the spine, exhale, little hump in the spine. Finish the next exhalation. And then just bring your spine back to the neutral tabletop position for a brief moment. And when you're ready, you can sit up in the Vajrasana. That's sitting on the heels, if that's comfortable. Keep the speed. Let me raise the speed to 75. I know we did 70 yesterday. Let's do 75 and see how that feels. Again, don't force anything. But when you're ready, if you have any questions or any kind of doubts about these practices, absolutely ask. You will not be disturbing anybody if you ask questions. So feel free to do that. Exhalation, let's exhale completely, and then just natural rhythm of breathing now. Regular breaths. You ready? Come to a standing position. We'll do 2 rounds of Surya Namaskar, sun salutation. Come up, standing position. Come close to the top of the mat. Feet together. Just nice and flat feet. You can feel the weight of the body very even across the soles. Lift the shoulders up, roll them back. So you should feel just subtle openness of the chest now. Exhale, palms together. Let's inhale, arms in front, up and back. Pull the hands up first, push the arms back, look up. Exhale, bending forward now. Slow and smooth. Final position, you can drop the hands, get the hands closer to the toes. Now bend the knees, palms on the floor alongside the feet, left foot back. Left knee down, buttocks down, chest up, head up. Exhale, right foot back into the downward facing dog. Lifting the buttocks up and pressing the heels down toward the floor. Chin down to the chest, and you're looking at your knees or your feet. Knees down, chest down, chin down. Ashtanga Mudra, 8 limbs on the floor. Release the abdomen down, lift the head and chest up, lift the palms up as well. In the first round, you try and use the upper body strength, lift the chest higher, not pressing with the palms. Also press down with the belly a little bit, just feel that pressure and then lift the knees up higher. Palms down, go back to the downward facing dog. Adho Mukha Svanasana, that's the Sanskrit name. Head up as we inhale, left foot forward. Knee down, buttocks down, chest up. As you exhale, right foot forward. Feet together again, and then if comfortable, stretch the legs very straight. If not, keep them bent slightly. Lift the head up, bring the arms in front against the ears, L shape first, and then start stretching up and back. Hold the hands up, push them back. And then as you exhale, straighten the body up and release the arms down. Feel, when you do these movements, kind of become fully aware of what's going on in the body, how the muscles are behaving. Feel that, the experience of each stretch, each muscle, each joint becomes a very engrossing and deeply meditative experience. Next round, feet together, exhale, palms together. This time when you inhale, bring the arms out to the side first and then stretch up, back, pull the hands up, push them back. Exhale, smoothly begin to bend forward. Keep the arms against the ears initially, hands pulled away. Finally, drop the hands and bring the hands behind the back now. So we go to interlock the fingers, roll the shoulders back, nice openness of the chest. Inhale, pull the hands up away from you toward the ceiling, deep stretch. Exhaling, drop the chest down, close the gap with the thighs. And then release the hands, bend the knees, palms down, right foot back. Buttocks down, chest up, knee down. As you exhale, left foot back, downward facing dog. Again, push the thighs backward, buttocks up, heels down. Knees to the floor, buttocks back this time. We do the child pose in the second round. Child is where the buttocks are resting on the heels, forehead is on the floor, and then take the hands out for a walk in front. Deepen the stretch in the arms, shoulders, and the full length of the spine. Now, without shifting the position of the hands, slide forward into the cobra, Bhujanga. Cobra is where the chest is up, navel is down, elbows are tucked in close to the body, shoulders are rolled back. Nice stretch of the fingers, the wrists, arms and shoulders, back, lower back, middle back. Let's go back to the downward facing dog. Head up, right foot forward, up between the palms, chest up. Exhale, left foot forward, together, legs straight if comfortable. Try and drop the chest down closer to the thighs, only as much as you comfortably can. Head up, bring the arms out to the side this time. As you inhale, stretch the arms up and back. And as you exhale, straighten the body and release the arms down. Sit down with the eyes closed for a moment. Always hold the eyes after this sequence so you can feel the energy in the body. Become aware of any sensations that you might still be carrying with your experience of this Surya Namaskara practice. You can softly open the eyes. Very comfortable. Just want to spend a few minutes talking about some of the kind of the logistic guidelines of how we want to establish our yoga practice, our meditation practice. Okay. So the first question that usually people ask is, what's the best time for meditation? Right? And when we look at our ancient texts, all the texts tell us that the best time for meditation is early morning. Okay? There's a term that is very commonly mentioned in Sanskrit. It is called Brahma Muhurta. Some of you might have heard that term, Brahma Muhurta. Brahma is generally the term for supreme consciousness or the ultimate being or whatever, supreme consciousness. Okay. And Muhurta is time. So when that supreme entity is more prominently accessible, so to say, And the Brahma Muhurta is a time which actually is related to the sunrise, time of sunrise. And they say it is roughly a duration of, that's what I've read somewhere. They say it is, the total duration is 96 minutes. Is that right? 96.
Yeah. I think around like one
96
prahara,
minutes,
yeah,
48,
yeah,
they say 48 minutes
40
is one prahara,
one prahara, yeah.
and then 2 prahara is the duration. And it starts about
Before sunrise, yeah. Like,
2 hours before sunrise, roughly. So let's say 2 hours before sunrise is the Brahma Muhurta. I'm just giving you a very rough approximation, right? So they say that's the best time. But then obviously that poses a lot of problems for us, because sunrise is at a different time every single day. Right? So you cannot model your time based on the sunrise. You have to go to work irrespective of when the sun rises at a certain time. So you fix a time in the morning. Basically, that's the idea. Fix a time early in the morning and allocate that time for your meditation. Earlier the better. Okay. That's the time when everything is quiet, peaceful. They say, your mind can be most focused. That's the time that they allocate, that they describe, Brahma Muhurta. All right. So having said that, what if you don't have time in the morning? You have other commitments, you have meetings, your meetings with India or Australia or something at that time, and you have to take your kids to their bus or whatever happens. A lot of things happen. So then what they say is that, look, it doesn't matter. I mean, allocated time anytime during the day. The only guideline is that time should be allocated when your stomach is empty. Ideally then, when is the stomach most empty? Just before breakfast, just before lunch, just before dinner. Those are the 3 times when the stomach is most empty, right? You have the biggest gap between these 2 meals. So, all right, then if you cannot do it in the morning, do it in the afternoon, maybe before lunch, or allocate time in the evening before dinner. Okay. So stomach empty is very important, because when you meditate, you need the full pranic energy, allocated to your meditation, to your concentration, your focus, your chanting, or whatever you're doing. The prana, the pranic vibration, pranic energy should be available. When the stomach is full, what's prana doing? It's busy digestion. There is prana, apana, and all that. So, that whole concentration of the pranic energy is to focus on digestion. Not much energy is available for your yoga practice, including meditation. So empty stomach is a good guideline, important guideline. The next question is, how long do you want to sit and meditate? How long do you want to allocate the time for? So when you start the practice of meditation, sometimes it is even difficult to sit for a long period of time. Many people have difficulty sitting. After a few minutes, your legs might go to sleep, or you might have some strong sensations. Some people tell me they feel as if there are ants crawling on their legs or something like that. I've heard people mention that. After some time, you have different sensations. That's why it is very important to find a posture that is very comfortable. That's something that you can maintain for a long enough period for the duration of your meditation. So if you need a cushion under your buttocks, that's perfectly okay. You can sit in a chair, you sit on a bench or a stool or a bolster or anything. That will give you that level of comfort which you can maintain for the duration of your meditation. So how long now? The most common guideline that you go to, most teachers will tell you you should build up to minimum of 20 minutes of meditation. 20 minutes is the time that you will hear from many teachers. Okay. What if you cannot sit for 20 minutes? I would say start with 10. Right? But remember what we are doing here, the way that I am teaching meditation. I'm saying allocate some time for your dharana practice, and then the subsequent, remaining time for your dhyana practice. Dharana is the initial focus. And in the past few days, we have done this practice, either the Soham meditation or the Pratyahara or the sense withdrawal meditation, etc. So that dharana itself, if you use my guided sequence, which you will be getting links to all these audio recordings. So these guided sequences are roughly 8 to 10 minutes. Okay? So my suggestion is that you use these guided sequences for the first part, which is dharana, and then transition to your mantra meditation and allocate at least 10 minutes for your mantra meditation, minimum. So you're roughly adding all this up to 20 minutes roughly, right? So that's my recommendation. And, I'll be giving guidelines for some other of these dharana practices also. Some are short in the time duration, some are longer. But you want to add up to roughly 20 minutes, roughly. Again, if you're absolutely strapped for time or you just cannot sit for that long, 15, 10, it's okay. Most important part is to allocate time for your meditation. All right. So dharana and dhyana, the initial focus and the mantra chanting should add up to whatever your total duration of time that you allocate for your meditation. Now, this is all, I'm only talking about meditation, but the practice of yoga, it combines all three, right? Asana, pranayama, and meditation. Okay. So when some people ask me, I don't have time to do all three at the same time. It's okay. You can divide. You can divide your practice into 2 components or 3 components. Maybe you want to do meditation early in the morning, asana just before lunch, pranayama just before dinner, whatever works for you. All right. You can divide your practice. Okay? If you don't have a full hour or hour and a half for your full practice, divide that time. That's perfectly okay. So the next question is, where do you meditate? You have to pick a location in your house where you have good vibrations, I would say. Place where you can find some peace and quiet, which is not distracted by other distractions. The key distractions in any place for most of us, key distractions are predominantly these days electronics. Electronics is the biggest source of distraction. Anytime there's a email or a WhatsApp message, there's a ping sound coming from your phone. Obviously, it's going to disturb your meditation. So make sure you have no notifications active on your phone. Try to keep it in a different room. All electronics should be free of sound. Okay. So make sure that from that point of view, there are no sound possibilities of sound distraction. Many people obviously have other sources of distraction. Some people have pets. Many people like to do yoga practice with the pets in their room, but when you're meditating, you don't want any distraction whatsoever. If there is a tendency of the pet going and coming and sitting in your lap, you will be distracted. Okay, no matter how much you love the pet, how much the pet loves you, that's going to cause distraction. So work around that. We have small kids who might be running around, right? So all I'm saying is find a place where there is least possibility of distraction. There should be no clutter, no distraction of any kind. Clean place always gives you a little more motivation for going deeper into your practice. Clean. Some people like the smell of some kind of a fragrance. You can light some of those fragrances. You get them. Some people are allergic to those fragrances. So make sure you understand all those guidelines. Okay. So those are some of the very simple, basic guidelines how you want to establish your meditation practice. And did I cover everything? Does anybody have any questions about establishing a practice? Anybody have any questions? All right, wonderful.
Well, Subhashi, can you hear me well?
Yes, I can, sure.
So you need to do pranayama to calm down your mind, right? Before you do meditation. So ideally those two should be combined together in the practice.
That's right, yes. That's a good point. With pranayama, like I keep repeating that phrase, tataha dharana suyogyata, that's the phrase Patanjali uses. That pranayama practice will give you stability and peace of the mind. In fact, pranayama itself becomes a dharana practice. You can use pranayama as dharana, and you'll be doing those practices.
Yeah.
Pranayama as dharana. That's a big point. All right. Okay, so if there are no other thoughts or questions, let's do some pranayama then. All right. If everything is okay, let's do one more round of Kapalabhati. Final explanation. And then just very natural rhythm of breathing after that. Practice of Kapalabhati. Is to a practice called the Bhramari Pranayama. Bhramari is the Sanskrit word which literally means the sound made by a bee. The Sanskrit word for a bee is Bhramara. Bhramara is the bee, and the sound that bee makes is called Bhramari sound, which is a humming sound. The sound basically sounds like this. Let me turn the sound on so you can hear the sound maybe. It'll sound like this, it's like humming a musical, song or something. When you hum a song, it will sound like this. Okay, that's called the humming sound of a bee, all right? But the way we do this practice is through the use of a gesture with the hands. That gesture in Sanskrit is called Shanmukhi Mudra. It comes from the two words Shat. Shat means six. Mukha is face or opening or mouth or whatever. Mukha can mean multiple things. Basically openings. Six openings in the face. What are these six openings? Two ears, two eyes, nose, and the mouth. Six openings are there, right? So those are the six sources of perception of outside, you know, stuff that's coming from outside, perception, okay, sense perceptions. So we want to close those, and we do that by first plugging the ears with the thumbs, and then you bring the index finger on the eyelids, middle finger on the nose, ring finger on the upper lips, and then below the lips, lower little finger. Okay. So I don't think I can reach, or maybe I can. It's a little hard. So this is what it's going to look like. Okay. Now having done that gesture, then you will take a deep inhalation, and then when you exhale, make that sound. All right. So you will make that nice, deep, long humming sound. And because your ears are going to be closed, you won't hear my instruction when you're doing the sound. So count 4 breaths. So deep inhalation 4 times, and 4 times humming sound. Okay, 4 times. When you're done with the 4 rounds, release the hands. Done with the sequence, stay with that vibration, stay with that sound, and mentally visualize that sound percolating every cell of the body, that vibration of this humming sound going through every cell of the body. It's a very calming, very soothing pranayama practice. It's actually one of the practices that you can use as dharana practice because it really helps calm the mind, calms the nervous system. Okay. And now we'll do the alternate nostril breathing, which is called the Nadi Shuddhi or Anuloma Viloma. So Vishnu Mudra with the right hand, with the fist, right thumb up, the last two fingers out. Chin Mudra with the left, index and thumb together. Let's do 2 rounds together. Close the right nostril with the right thumb. Exhale through the left. Inhale through the left. Close the left with the ring finger. Exhale right. Inhale through the right. Close the right again with the thumb. Exhale left. Inhale through the left. Close the left. Exhale right. Inhale right. Close the right. Exhale left. And continue now. So your practice is to exhale first through one nostril, then inhale through the same nostril. And at the end of inhalation, switch the other side for the next exhalation. Soft, deep Ujjayi breaths, 3-part breathing, engaging the full capacity of the lungs for each breath. And try to build that ratio. So keep a count in your mind, Om 1, Om 2, Om 3, etc. Make an assessment of the duration of inhalation versus exhalation and set the mental intention to bring the exhalation eventually twice the duration of inhalation. That's the guideline. If you're inhaling, let's say 5 seconds, Om 1 through Om 5, eventually you would want to build your exhalation to 10 seconds, Om 1 through Om 10. But let's say if you're inhaling for 5 and your exhalation is only up to 7, that's perfectly okay. Absolutely no harm. So you should not put any kind of strain in your practice just to make it twice. No, we don't want to do that. Totally free of any strain. Finish the next round, finish the exhalation through the left side. When you finish that final round, exhaling from the left side, at the end of that, release the hands down. Get back to your natural rhythm of breathing. Okay. If you're ready, we'll stretch the legs out, do a little gentle stretch. Do that gently just to open the limbs of the body, and then we go to relaxation. So as you stretch the legs out, feet together, raise the arms up as you inhale, and then as you exhale, bend forward. Again, to feel that lengthening of the spine, when you inhale, pull the chin away toward your feet. That keep the spine long. And when you exhale, you can even try to deepen the stretch by dropping the chest down, only if it's comfortable. Keep breathing. The breath is guiding your stretch. When you inhale, lengthen the spine. When you exhale, drop the chest if it's comfortable. next inhalation, raise the arms up and release them down as you exhale. Sit comfortable, cross-legged, any position for yoga mudra. Keep the eyes closed, spine comfortably tall. Let's bring your hands behind the back. Softly hold the right wrist behind you. And then as you exhale, begin to bend forward. Nice, easy move, slow move. Finally, wherever you reach, stay there for a few more breaths in the final position. The next inhalation, slow and smooth, come back up. Finally, release the hands, legs, and we're ready for relaxation. So lie down on your back. Getting ready for yoga nidra. Nidra is sleep, but yoga nidra is yogic sleep with full awareness, not biological sleep. So we'll do our sequence to tighten the muscles in the body. So come up into a half boat. Optional. Always feel free to keep the head down, feet down. But if you can, keep the legs very straight, point the toes away, stretch the arms straight out in front, both the arms, spread the fingers wide and tight. Make a tight fist with the hands. Keep the fists tight, elbows are straight. Open the mouth, extend the tongue out, curl it down toward the chin. Eyes are open. Try and tense up all the facial as well as the neck muscles now. With the fists still tight, pull the hands and shoulders away from you. We'll squeeze the buttocks tight. Thighs, knees, kneecaps, calf muscles, ankles. Point the toes away. We're going to now engage every single muscle in the body, the whole body. Become aware of the whole body and bring it to a real tight squeeze, the entire body. Squeeze tighter. And let go. This time, let the body find a very naturally comfortable position now. It's called Shavasana. Shava is a dead body. You can spread the feet apart, almost the width of the mat. Palms preferably facing up. All this should feel natural and very comfortable. Once you find that most comfortable position, you can do a natural scan of the body from toes to head. When you do this scan, nice mind-body connection. If you perceive any kind of tension, tightness or fatigue, sending in that wave of relaxation. So mind can consciously loosen up any tightness in the muscles. As the muscles loosen up, they relax. You start feeling that subtle heaviness of the different limbs on the floor. Feel the heaviness of the feet, legs, knees, thighs. buttocks, the entire back. Feel the heaviness of the hands, arms, shoulders, neck, head. Just try and become aware of all the points of contact between the body and the floor, and also that subtle sense of heaviness of the whole body on the floor. Let the body gently sink into the floor. Deep state of relaxation. We'll try and enjoy this deep state of relaxation for a few moments. And to do that, we'll set the intention that while we are relaxing, when thoughts come up, we'll become aware of the thought, but take otherwise no attention, no involvement with the thoughts. Thoughts will come and go away. And let's continue to enjoy this beautiful states of the body and mind for a few more moments now. Bring the awareness slowly back to the breathing and begin to breathe slightly deeper breaths. gradually begin to stretch the fingers, curl the toes, stretch the hands, feet, arms and legs. Getting a good stretch by bringing the arms back overhead, pull the hands back and away from you, toes away from you, good stretch. Slowly roll to one side. Just for a moment. Come up to a sitting position now, slowly. And as always, just find a nice, comfortable position. So like I've mentioned, we are focusing on a few dharana practices. That's our kind of approach in this program. My goal is to introduce you to a few different dharana practices, and then when you start practicing on your own, you'll experiment with them and pick a few which you really enjoy, which give you a deeper experience of meditation. And one thing I want to mention is that what we do in the very beginning of the class. At the very beginning, we go through our body awareness, then we go through breath awareness, etc. That itself becomes a very dharana practice, very nice dharana practice. So you can always go through that same sequence of bringing the awareness from all the way, from top to bottom, and then transition to your breath awareness, and then go into the meditation practice, dhyana, transition. Now, in fact, what you can do is to use that whole technique as a preliminary to your dharana practice. Whatever dharana practice you use, you go through that full sequence. It will really help you bring a kind of mental stability right in the beginning. Okay, going through that whole practice. Now, what we'll do today, we did the Om chanting. We do the Om chanting all the time, and today we went through how to recite that Om sound. So starting with that navel center and all that, and then finally culminating in the crown center of the Sahasrara chakra. Now, as you have noticed, Om itself is a form of pranayama, because we take a very deep breath in before we start, and while we are exhaling, we exhale very slowly while making that Om sound, right? So that itself is a very beautiful pranayama practice. So that's one aspect of it. The second is that we are so deeply focused, so deeply engaged in that sound vibration of the Om sound, Om chant, that it becomes a very deeply meditative practice. Om, I'm going to talk about it tomorrow, but Om also has multiple meanings and multiple interpretations, why it is such a significant sound. And it becomes a very beautiful practice then to just recite Om multiple times and use that as dharana practice. It's a very commonly used dharana practice, chanting Om. Okay, so this is an audible sound now. Most dharana practices, we don't make an audible sound, but this is one of those practices where we make the audible Om sound. But then when you do this Om chanting as the dharana practice, you don't, especially when we do it in a class, when we do it in the beginning of the class, Om chanting, we kind of synchronize. I I do the Om chant and you guys synchronize with me. But in this pranayama practice, when you chant Om, and by the way, the name of that practice is called Udgitha Pranayama. Udgitha. Udgitha Pranayama. See? And in that one, you're completely on your own. You're totally engrossed in the sound that your own Om chanting is creating. Feel that vibration. Like I said, be aware of how you chant Om, and then at the end of each sound, each Om chant, give a brief pause for the next sound. During that pause, fill the whole body with that vibration, with that sound. Okay. Alright, so let's do that today. So what we'll do now is, for the next few minutes, we'll just continue to chant the Om sound, and you'll do it completely at your own pace. No reason to synchronize with anybody. And then after a few minutes, I'll let you know when to stop, and then I'll guide you through to transition to your own mantra meditation then. Okay, so whenever you're ready, start by chanting the Om sound. It's the next round now. Take your time. Finish the full sequence of the next Om chant. And for a moment, stay mentally tuned to this sound, this vibration, this rhythm of this Om chanting, and let that vibration fill every cell of the body. It's a mental visualization. You're just imagining that you're able to feel that vibration in every part of the body. Every cell of the body is getting that vibration, energy. They call it the cosmic vibration. You are in tune with the cosmic energy. Slowly shift your awareness back to your breath, and with the awareness at the tip of the nose, just watch the breath for a few moments, just a few breaths. Shift your awareness to the location of the third eye and visualizing that vast space in front called the Chidakasha, space of consciousness, that expansion of consciousness. Maintaining that awareness, will transition now to the individual mantra meditation for a few moments now. Mantra meditation. once again. Shift your awareness back to the breath at the tip of the nose. Watch the flow for a moment. Becoming aware of the body, any sensations that you might feel in the body. Becoming aware of your surroundings, slowly picking up any sounds that you might be able to hear around you. We're going to join the palms together now for the closing Shanti mantra. Inhale. Om Asato Ma Sadgamaya Tamaso Ma Jyotirgamaya Mrityorma Amritam Gamaya. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Lead me from unreal to the real, darkness to light, from the fear of death to the knowledge of immortality. Peace, peace, peace. Grab the palms again. And cover the eyes softly with the palms. Gently relaxing the eyes. Use the hands, join the palms again, raise them up, and then while exhaling, bend forward. Shri Guru Bhyo Namaha. I bow down with respect to all my gurus, my teachers, with a very special tribute to sage Patanjali, our guru, who has given us this beautiful practice of yoga. Slowly come back up. Thank you all very much. Namaste. Have a wonderful rest of the day.